Hello, dear friends. Today we have the 19th of August, 2025 year, and this is a traditional review of the map of hostilities. Today, all the main changes are also taking place in the South Donetsk and Pokrovskoye directions, which we will talk about and look at in this video. And before we start, according to tradition, I would like to ask you to subscribe to the channel. As you know, with your subscription, you are very much helping the development of the channel. Thank you to everyone who subscribed. There are no significant changes and news coming in the Kherson direction today, so we will start our review with the Zarechnoye direction. In the Zarechnoye direction, fighting is underway in the area of the settlement of Stepnogorsk and Malaya Somachka. Let's move on to Stepnogorsk. In the area of Stepnogorsk, Russian troops are attacking the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine with the help of F-drones, as well as striking at temporary deployment points and reserves of the armed forces of Ukraine. A little north of Stepnogorsk in the area of the settlement of Primorskaya and Vasilyanka. Otherwise, it all came down to positional combat operations without any assault actions on the part of the Russian army. As for the settlement of Malaya Tokmachka, opposition fighting has been going on here for several weeks now, but the fighting has not stopped here. Here the front line is very active. Both the Russian and Ukrainian military attack each other's positions, not only with patrons but also with artillery. Otherwise, the map has not changed here for today. We are moving with you to the Gulyapoli direction. The line of combat contact has intensified in the Gulyapoli direction. As you know, earlier the Russian troops pressed firm Malinovka in the direction of the settlement of Poltavka, and also pressed firm the settlement of Levodnaya in the direction of the settlement of Olgovskaya. And today there are minor changes in favor of the Russian army. The Russian troops managed to take some of the trench lines, as well as a small area of territory extending up to 2.5 kilometers in the direction of the settlement of Olgovsky. And thus the Russian troops expanded the control zone to the west of the settlement of Levodnaya. The entire territory marked in red has now come under the full control of the Russians. We move with you further along the map to the settlement of Kamyshevaka. Here, Russian troops are attacking the AFU positions in this locality, moving from the side of the green field, from the southern outskirts of Kamyshevaki, and also from the side of the settlement of Shevchenko, from the eastern side of Kamyshevaki. Everything leads to the fact that this settlement may be stormed in the coming days. And there is a very controversial situation in the area of the settlement of Andriivka Klevtsova. Let me remind you that both Russian and Ukrainian flags have been here many times. And now a lot of false information is being received. Therefore, we are waiting for information from trusted sources, from reputable military officers, in order to make changes to the map. So far, the map looks like this. The southern part of Andriivka Klevtsova is under the control of the Russians. The northern part is in the gray zone. As for the settlements, Green Guy and Novokotskaya, from here, Russian troops are attacking the AFU positions in the area of the settlement of Ivanivka and Filia. Otherwise, the map has not changed here for today. We move on with you to the settlement of Kotlyrovka. As you know, in this direction, the only settlement left under the control of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in the Donetsk region is Moravka. And earlier there was information that Russian troops were moving from the direction of the settlement. Kotlyrovka bypasses Moravka from the southern outskirts and strikes at the positions of the APU in this locality. And there has repeatedly been information that Russian troops tried to enter and gain a foothold in this settlement, but they did not achieve success. And today there was an expansion of the control zone to the northwest of Kotlyrovka. The entire territory marked in red came under the control of the Russians. Here the advance was up to 1.5 kilometers, and we see that Russian troops are bypassing Moravka from the southern outskirts, in order to cut off the supply road to Moravka and then take it under their control by assault. In the coming days, assault operations may begin here, and there will be serious changes on the map. So far, there have been no significant changes in the Zarechnoye area for today. But news is coming that opposition fighting is underway north of the Zarechnoye settlement. Otherwise, here's the news for today. We are moving with you to the Pokrov direction. A lot of controversial news comes from the locality of Redinskaya and Krasnolimanskoye estuary. About Ukrainian sources report that Redinskoye has come under the control of the Ukrainian military, or rather returned under full control. The Russian side, the pro-Russian side, reports that it was possible to expand the control zone in the Redinsky area, and also expand the control zone in the Krasnoliman area, but so far neither side has provided any supporting materials. And all information comes in the form of news. Therefore, the map is here for today without changes. And also, several FABs have already arrived in the Mir reward area. This is the point marked in blue on the map. It was FAB's arrival today for the last 24 hours. And also yesterday, there was the arrival of the FABA on the eastern outskirts of the World Award, and for today, there is such news here. We go a little further north on the map to the settlement of the Golden Well. As you know, earlier Russian troops entered the Golden Well, but after that, the Ukrainian military cut off the supply of the Russian military. But now there is information that Russian troops have gained a foothold in the Golden Well, as well as Russian troops are expanding the control zone in the area of the settlement of Kucherov Yar. From this point to the east of Kucherov Yar, a video material came from which the advanced positions of the Russian military were located, and the map marked in red completely came under control Russians. Also in the Golden Deck here today, 2 video materials were received from the Russian side, and 1 video material from the Ukrainian side. There were positional fighting between the Russian and Ukrainian military. Thus, we can conclude that Russian troops are still present in the Golden Well, and despite the fact that they were previously cut off from supplies. And let's look a little further south on the map. In the area of the settlement of Pankivka, Russian troops are expanding the control zone and moving towards this settlement. Today, a video came from this point to the north of the village of Mayak. Thus, we see that Russian troops are moving in the direction of the settlement of Vladimirovka, and the entire territory marked in red has come under the control of the Russian military. And despite the fact that pro-Russian sources report that the advance here was up to 5 kilometers. In fact, the confirmed materials will show that Russian troops have advanced up to 2 kilometers in the direction of Vladimirovka here. We move a little further along the map to the eastern part of Vladimirovka. 2 videos came from here today too. It was from these points that the video materials came, on which there were positional fighting between the Russian and Ukrainian military. The distance from the line of contact was up to 1.5 kilometers. Thus, we can see that Russian troops are moving towards Vladimirovka, not only from its western part, but also from the east. In the coming days, there may be serious changes on the map here. We move on with you to Toretsk. Here, Russian troops continue to clean up the village of Shandrigolovo, and despite the fact that Russian sources have information that Klebenbek, Katerinovka, and Shandrigolovo have completely come under the control of the Russians. This information may be premature, since no additional video materials or any supporting information has been received from here. Therefore, the map for today is without any significant changes, but this information comes in the form of news. There was also a FAB arrival in the area of the settlement of Ivan Polya. It was at this point that FAB arrived at the point of temporary deployment of the AFU according to personnel. And today, the map is here without any significant changes. We are moving with you to the watch direction. There are fierce fighting in the area of Nikolaevka and in the area of Stupochki. There are reports that the Ukrainian military is counterattacking the positions of the Russians, but still there are no changes on the map. And the same is true in all other areas of the fighting. Opposition military operations are being conducted in the rural area without any significant changes on the map. The Krasnolimanskoye and Kupinsk directions are also positional combat operations without significant changes along the line of contact. It feels like negotiations are underway between the United States, Zelensky, and the President of the Russian Federation at this point in time. And the front line in this area of hostilities has been put on pause. The rest of the news for today is as follows. Thank you all for watching. See you soon.